Here we go. I now call the Iberia Parish Council meeting to order for May 11, 2022. The current time now is 6:02. The prayer will be led by Councilman Olivier and the pledge by Councilman Brown. Councilman Olivier.
Please rise, please. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. We meet here today to serve our community, to use our resources wisely and well, to represent all members of our community fairly, and to make decisions to promote the good of all. We recognize our responsibility to the past and to the future, and the rights and the needs of both individuals and communities. As trusted servants, we seek blessing on our deliberations and on our effort here today. May we act wisely and well. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, please initiate the roll call.
Tommy Powell.
Here.
Michael Landry.
Here.
Marcus Broussard.
Here.
Lloyd Brown.
Here.
Warren Goshasing.
Here.
Natalie Broussard.
Here.
Paul Landry.
Here.
James Trahan.
Here.
Scott Rossonay.
Here.
Eugene Olivier.
here.
Brian Napier.
Here.
Lady Fortnett Brown. Marty Trahan. Chad Montserrat.
Here.
We have 12 members in a quorum. Moving on to public comments. I need a motion to go into public comments. I have a motion by Councilman Brown and a second by Councilwoman Broussard. Roll call, members. Those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, hear no opposition. The ayes have it, and the motion carries unanimously. Number one, Madam Clerk.
Comments from the general public on non-agenda items.
I believe we did not receive any. Number two, Madam Clerk.
Comments from the general public on agenda items. A, comments from the general public for a public hearing to consider the levying of additional or increased millage rates without further voter approval or adopting the adjusted millage rates after reassessment and rolling forward to rates not to exceed the prior year's maximum, all in connection with the adoption of ordinances setting the 2022 millage rates.
We did receive one request from Ricky Gonsalves and Freddie DeCourt to address agenda item 5195. Gentlemen, if you can state your name and address for the record. Welcome.
Thank you, Council and Administration. My name is Ricky Gonsalves, Mayor Pro Tem of the city, and I have with me the Mayor of the city, Mr. Freddie DeCourt. So we're here tonight to bring a little bit of a positive inlight to a subject we feel that's important to us. And very often in general meetings in the community and around the community, you hear that the city is a part of the parish and we're all one. And we totally agree. So that's a true statement. And we are part of one, and the parish is part of one. The city lies within the city. But also, you know, there's 7 council members here tonight that represent city residents. That's a true fact, right? The city collected $53 million in ad valorem taxes in 21. That's a true fact. The city contributed $13 million of that $53 million. That's a true fact. The city contributed $744,000 of that drainage millage to the parish in 21. That's also a true fact. And we totally agree with those numbers and we support those numbers, but as we see here tonight and we see that there may be a possibility of this council increasing or maxing out the drainage millage, we think it's time to maybe consider a partnership with the parish. But let's be clear on that. Before, the city, the parish is advocating for a increased millage and or maxing out the millages, but the city is proposing a reallocation of its millage for 100% of road improvements in our city. So let's not get them confused, because you guys are going up on millages and we're reallocating, and we don't want to go out in the public and make sure that if you decide to go up on millages that we reallocate our millages by paying a millage off early, rededicating it to roads, and with that move, strategic move, and thanks to our mayor and our leadership, we're going to be able to get 2 $10 million bonds and in excess of $1 million for the next 20 years for road maintenance. So we're going to have a solid road program, in addition to the $12 million we're currently spending. So let's not get the public confused on the 2 different aspects that the government taking right now. But back to the partnership. We think that a partnership is long overdue with the parish and the city when it comes to drainage. So if it's successful and that the millage is increased in drainage, we think there's going to be an additional money beyond that $744,000 collected. And if that's the case, the city has currently approved $1.2 million in drainage from the Harper money. we're here out here tonight asking the parish, would you guys anticipate to partner with us, money from your HARPA money to do drainage within our city? That's what we ask for, because our city residents pay part of that drainage millage, and we want a partnership with the parish to allocate some of that money in the future to our drainage improvements. And that's what we're asking here tonight, just a simple partnership, because I think working together is the long-term future of the city and the parish, and this is the first step that we can make big impacts. And I think the mayor wants to make a few words.
Good evening. Glad to be here. As Ricky stated, we spend about $800,000 a year in drainage taxes that we give to the parish. We've put $1.2 million of ARPA money for drainage. So we just started kicking around ideas. If you think about the commercial canal, Peebles, the M10, the Armico, they all come through the city. We know they go out to the parish, okay? So our interior canals could use some work. Another big problem is, and it's kind of a state thing, but Larry's got a better truck than me, so we could go to Baton Rouge. The, the bridges at Admiral Dahl cut all our canals. The box culverts at 90 cut our drainage. So we have many examples that we haven't been able to get the state to clean those in quite a few years. So y'all do good work out in the parish. We are beginning and realizing we need to clean all our canals, and we've dedicated some money to do that. One of the biggest blockages is all of those that cut those canals basically in half, so our water's not getting out. So, what if you said for 1 year that 800,000, if your millage goes up, I don't know what y'all going to do, and that's, we're not here to tell you what to do either way. But if you collect more drainage money, if we took $800,000 of our money, you took $800,000 of your money, we got 1.6. We take a rod to Baton Rouge and go meet with DOTD and meet with the governor, whoever we have to, and say, is there any other money? If we got 1.6, can you put up some money? Then possibly we could go and clean all of those obstructions that are affecting all of us. So we just figured we would come and say, and this is the first of, we hope, many. Larry and I talk quite often. I talk to many of you council members. This guy is much more comfortable in this room because he served here for 8 years. But there's got to be some ways in the next few years, while we have money, while we're looking at doing some things differently. New money should do new stuff. So while we have that new money, anything we can think of, any way you guys can think of, that we could partner and leverage that we have more money to spend. Of course, our caveat, the jersey we wear is the city, so our caveat is we need some of it spent in the city, but there's no reason we can't find some partnerships. So we came for this one. We have some other ideas that as our ARPA money unfolds, we would like to continue to have that conversation. And we really didn't want, I started my dog and pony show for our millage reallocation. We're taking $1 million, paying it off early, go to the voters in November and say it's not a new millage, we're reallocating, it can only be used for the roads. It will bring in a total of $35 million over 20 years. Immediately let us bond out $10 million more with the 12.5 we've already bonded. But I didn't want, because I went around doing that the last few weeks, and we have a big dog and pony show coming all summer. Well, I saw this, and I said, next thing, what are our citizens going to say? Oh, everybody's going up on their millages, and what do people normally do anytime there's a tax? If they can, they vote no, okay? I understand that. The first tax I ever voted for was the police tax. Okay, I always voted no, tell you the truth. So we figured, okay, one, we're coming for that, so we wanted it out there because I hit a lot of civic groups last week that it's not, we're not doing anything new or different. It will be reallocated the same money. So if you do your drainage and you go with that, we just wanted to express an interest to partner with y'all, put up some money where we could, and see if there weren't some new things maybe we could do differently. And that's it. No, not a big deal. And we thank you for your time.
Thank y'all.
Gentlemen, it's good to see y'all on this side of the plate. I've been going to y'all, so it's
that.
good to see y'all on this side of the plate sometimes.
And we feel like we should do more of this, and we will.
And Ricky, the last time you were here, you had a better shirt on. I'm just letting you know.
I've been working all day.
Good to see you, gentlemen. Thank you for being here. Next, we have Mr. Craig Romero to address agenda item number 77. Welcome, Mr. Romero. If you can state your name and address for the record, please.
Thank you very much, Craig Romero, Executive Director of the Port of Iberia. I'm here tonight. I read, I think in the newspaper, your agenda, sort of glanced at it, or I think maybe it was the one that they sent to me on my email, and I see you got an item to contract with an engineer for a CPRA project. And you might remember 2 or 3 years ago, probably 3 years ago, I came here, and as soon as the CPRA money, the GOMESA money started flowing, 3 years ago, I came here and said, because in working with the bond commission, I get a lot of state money for the Port of Iberia, and I got a lot of money for Iberia Parish when I was in this room. And you got to work through a bond issue to get that money, to leverage that money. This year, the Port of Iberia is getting $38 million to do the task that we're going to announce tomorrow. And again, I want to re-invite y'all for tomorrow for lunch at the port. We're going to start the dredge, a $38 million project. And that's all a result because the state does bond issues. They take anticipated revenues and they do a bond issue and they get into this money, and then it's available for the city, for the parish, for the school board, any governmental agency in Louisiana. And we do projects. This project is the result of that. Well, 3 years ago, when GOMESA started and working with the bond commission, 8 different parishes went to the bond commission immediately and they asked to bond their anticipated GOMESA monies. And I came here and I said, look, it's 8 other parishes are doing it, coastal parishes. Why would we not do that? Let's do what the state does to leverage this money and do some projects quick. You get a lot of money. Well, I was told, no, we got this money and CPRA is going to match it. Well, that was 3 years ago. Followed it. Well, within the last 6 months, trying to follow the projects, I know People's Coulee, they called us to come do some surveying. They're going to put a structure in Rodare Coulee by the port, north of the port. One in People's Coulee, I heard, and then now one in Jefferson Canal. Well, 3 years down the road, I get a call within the last 6 months from a landowner, one of the biggest landowners on the port, saying, look, I just had the sheriff's office run some contractors off of this project. I said, what are you talking about? He said, it's that structure that the parish wanted to put in. They didn't come talk to us about rights of way or anything. I said, well, it must be premature. He said, no, the contract's been awarded and they're out there. So I look into it. Well, long story short, I think we had advertised, the project was awarded to a contractor, and they went out there to do the work, only to find out that the landowner had never been contacted, no workspace rights of way was negotiated, which you have to do before you go on somebody's property. And I'm looking at it thinking, well, wait. So I do my research. I go to CPRA, and this is the master plan. Every 5 years, they develop a master plan. It's been referenced, and I said, well, let's just watch it. Maybe we're going to capitalize on some outside money. We're 3 years down the road. 3 projects have been designed, the last of which they tried to go out and construct. And since the little incident happened that they ran the bulldozer off, the sheriff department went to tell them to get off the property, that contract has expired. Those prices are no longer any good. I think we're going to have to rebid it. And bids 8 months ago versus bids today, you're going to do half the work for the money you're going to get. So I'm starting to think, well, wait, we need to have a conversation. I came here asking, let's do a bond issue, maybe generate some money for a road project that the city of New Iberia, city of Jeanerette, town of Delcombe, village of Lowerville, everybody could participate in. I'm just here to suggest that. And now that I'm seeing what's going on, out of the 3 projects that Iberia Parish, I have the last 3 years planned. This year, 2023, there's 3 projects in here, and CPRA is only allocating money to construct 1 out of 3. You've engineered 2 projects. The money is not in the CPRA budget. And I can leave this with y'all. Y'all can go through it. It's not in the CPRA budget, but we spent all this engineering money. And when I got here in 1984, the biggest complaint I had was that the government, state and local, was the government would engineer projects, design things, and put it on the shelf. Never come to, never get constructed. People get upset about that. And now I'm reading that, seeing that, and being told, no, I'm getting this match, I'm getting that match. Well, I don't believe that anymore, especially in light of what's happened on this recent project. Do we really know what we're doing? I say we need to stop, sort of like the mayor and Ricky was just saying, we need to have a conversation about maybe changing course and talk about it and put everything on the table. Because you've paid millions of dollars for engineering services, but none of the projects are getting constructed. And CPRA, this is not Craig Romero saying you're not getting the money. This is the people that we were told, oh, we're going to get the match money. Now, and 3 years ago, there were 8 parishes that did it. Today, there's 14 parishes that have bonded their GOMESA money, and they generated a lot of money. And if you were to bond your money right now in Iberia Parish, based on your anticipated revenues, and I have a copy of, for y'all, I have a copy of how much y'all getting each year. I've got copies for each one of y'all. If you do it right now, you'd have more money to go to CPRA and leverage more money. Because if you do a bond issue, you come into tenfold with the annual appropriation. You could probably get between $15 and $20 million right now based on your anticipated revenue in future years. So it's plain common sense. And none of the projects in capital outlay on the state level, the $38 million we got this year is all because of a bond issue. The 55, we're getting $55 million in this legislative session to finish the channel into the Gulf of Mexico from Intracoastal City. That's all possible because of bond issues. You have to think out the box. If you just take the $1 million a year you're going to get this year and say, well, we're going to do a project right now. Next year we get another $1 million, do another $1 million. Mr. Lord, I think you're probably the youngest one in the room. I don't think me and you got enough life in us to see the projects that could get done in 1 year if you do a bond. If you say, let's let the bond attorney come in. Y'all have heard from him before, and I backed off. I didn't talk about this for the last 3 years. But now things like that are happening. We're designing projects, and CPRA is not even providing the money to build the projects. We need to stop. We need to stop and talk, because this is not what people want to see when you're spending money on engineering services. So I'm just here to appeal to you. We need to have a conversation. We need to, and I can bring some people with the state capital outlay from the bond commission come here to talk, to explain in more detail how simple. It's really simple. It's really simple. It's not rocket science. And if anybody has any questions, but I want to give you all this. This is what y'all have gotten. 2018, it really kicked in at 18. 18, 19, and now you get, and it's got this year's anticipated money. If you want to pass it on, please. I'm sorry. Give me one for Larry. And next year, another 5-year plan is going to come out in 23.
That's good.
This one was done in 2017. 2017, and it lays out what they'd like to see done. And if you get this book, I want you to go through it and look at the other coastal parishes and see. St. Mary Parish got over $100 million for a deal in Bayou Chene. $100 million.
And who did they get that from?
CPRA.
Okay, not Go Mesa. What you're showing the council right here is the amount of money that they have received from Go Mesa, not from CPRA. Right, correct?
That's right, and I'm telling you, you take that money and the multiplier effect comes in.
Gentlemen.
Waiting for money $1 million at a time when you can
That's not how it's
capture
working.
$20 million in 1 year,
right.
and you can
That's not how it works.
can do a lot.
Did you want to close on that? I mean,
I'm just here to point this out to you because it upset me when I heard that one project was bid, the contractor was run out the field because they didn't even check with the landowner, and now the bid expired and you got to rebid it. And you got to pay all the advertising costs, go through the bid process again. I've never heard of that before. I really never heard. I've been in government 30 years. Maybe I'm missing something. I'm not the smartest guy in the room.
Councilman Napier.
I'm not gonna go into this too deep, but Craig, I'm really speechless, but thank you. I'm hoping we're gonna get some kind of response to what
You will.
you said. But we're gonna get something today, I think, because you're there.
No.
My problem is, why haven't we gotten, and I want to give the parish president
Please.
his due, but for you to come and bring all this when we sitting here approving all this money, and then I knew about the Patu thing,
That's right.
you know, we knew, which is, there's no excuse why it
Right,
happened.
right.
I agree with that. And now, all that we spent is thrown out the window, and now we gotta start again, and then we're looking at doing another project. Hey, it's beyond baffling to me, but thank you. I know we'll address this. Thank you for bringing it up. It's a shame that we don't know about it. Thank you, Craig, appreciate it.
Councilman Napier yields back. Mr. Romero, you were finished?
No, I'm finished.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. And Brian, just so I can get, and it's my turn?
Go ahead.
Just so I can get started, Brian, this is actually Go Mesa dollars that we have received. This have nothing at all to do with CPRA. CPRA came here and told you guys, this is classic Craig Romero. He's talking about how great they're doing at the port. For the last 25 years, they've been trying to dredge. 25, hold on. You gave him an opportunity. No, I want to explain exactly what's going on.
Mr. Richard,
can have.
If you
Okay,
can-
hold on one second. Let me explain. You got to give me an opportunity to explain something as well.
But
just
don't throw
Okay, I
it
won't.
right.
I
This
won't
is
throw it on. I won't throw it on him. But what I'm
Gentlemen,
trying,
let's
what I'm
remain in
trying
regular-
to tell you
Gentlemen, let's
is,
remain in regular
we
order here.
have around
Mr. Richard.
$13 million that CPRA have already committed to Iberia Parish. Craig did not want you. He wanted us to bond so he can get more money from CPRA. So let's call it the way it is. Craig always been one to play a lot of games, and he's playing a very good game right here, right now. But that is exactly not happening. What did happen is when we got to People's Coulee and started to doing some work at People's Coulee, we had some contract problems that was going on between the landowner over there and our attorney, the two attorneys. Am I right, Andy? You can explain that. But all the stuff that Craig is talking about with CPRA, Brian, take my word. You heard them come here and talk to you. This is not me dreaming up this stuff. You believe what you want to believe, but you heard the guys come here. This money, in fact, I talked to CPRA today, and all of our money, including Boboye, all of the money that we're trying to get to do our projects is in the budget for CPRA. And that's all I can tell you.
Okay.
I can't do anything else.
So we're not gonna go any further with this?
We do have an agenda item that's coming up later
Right.
tonight, if you wouldn't mind. Let's get out of public
Thank you.
comments
Thank you.
first. Hearing no other requests to speak, I'll need a motion to go back into regular session. Have a motion by Councilman Michael Landry and a second by Councilwoman Broussard. Roll call, members. Those in favor will signify by saying aye. Those opposed, hear no opposition. The ayes have it, and the motion carries unanimously. Moving on to reports from finance and administrative actions. Number one, Madam Clerk.
Balance sheet for March 2022 was provided on request. Number two, budget report for March 2022 was provided on request.
Moving on to reports from parish or other governmental agencies. Number one, Madam Clerk.
The monthly building report for the month of April 2022 was emailed to council members.
Moving on to Public Works report. Number one, Madam Clerk.
Public Works Department report for closed work orders dated April 13th through the 26th, 2022 was emailed to the council.
Moving on to special business, there is none. Council member announcements. Members, any announcements? None? All right. Councilman Olivier on announcements.
I just want to comment, maybe Larry, you can help us with this. The trash on Highway 90, it's awful. I had a conversation with Blake Miggins about it. I got him working on the Baton Rouge level with it, but we need to clean up that Highway 90 corridor. Yeah. Maybe a letter from us to DOTD might help or something, just bring it to their attention, because it's a mess out there.
I do have
I'm
a
getting
question on
complaints
that,
about
why you saying that.
Yeah.
The sheriff does a phenomenal job. He goes around, and might be state highways too. Could he maybe help us on that?
He is doing it on state highways as well.
Okay.
I don't pick the locations that the sheriff go out and clean. He just do whatever he wants, and he's doing a fantastic job doing it.
Certainly.
But I can talk to the OTD. Basically, what it appears to me what's going on is when the contractors that is hired by the Department of Transportation go out and do the grass cutting, they're cutting where people are throwing trash out. They might be throwing bags of trash out, and when they cut that with the bush hog, it just throws it all over the place. In fact, the Department of Transportation about 2 or 3 weeks ago had their workers out picking up trash. I think it was on maybe 182. Had trash literally all over the place on 182, but you know, that's the state. That's not us. We have
Yeah,
enough
I
work to do
realize
our
it's
own.
the state, yeah, correct, yeah.
But I can certainly
Yeah.
talk to him.
Get a lot of phone calls.
But I seen that contractor, they worked for the state, they had mattresses on the side of the road, said them pick it up, they'll just go cut around it. And
Well, I can
leave
tell
it
you,
right
we
there.
have enough,
There.
we have enough
Yeah,
trash
yeah.
going on in Iberia Parish.
Oh, yeah, I definitely
Well, I'm
agree
trying to
with that.
concentrate on
At
ours.
least we got a program to try to clean it up.
Yeah.
Sheriff's helping us out.
Sure.
And you have people going out, clean,
Right.
pick up on the side of the roads too. but
Exactly.
I don't know if the state's doing that or not, but I think we gotta
Well, they have
just bring it to their attention,
they
that's all.
actually have a program that they just finished doing. They worked, I guess, the last 4 weeks or so, and they picked up a lot of trash throughout the state of Louisiana. I can't tell you exactly what they picked up in Iberia Parish, but they have a program that they
Yeah, I
they're
remember
working.
seeing that article too also, but tell them not to forget Iberia Parish.
No problem.
Thank you, Larry.
Councilman Olivier yields back.
Good.
Let the record reflect that lady, Councilwoman Brown is in attendance. Councilman Landry on discussion?
And I got a question. Last week or so, week before last, we had a wire running across Jefferson Island Road that had fell. I called Clico, I don't know if it was Clico line, but it came off of their power line. And I didn't know whether to call the state or anybody else. That thing stayed there for 5 days before they picked it up. Cars was running over it. It all it got me worried, and I started getting calls. They finally came and just threw it to the side.
Who removed it, Clico? Oh, you don't
I
know?
don't know.
Well,
Somebody, they removed it. and
I'm just
put it
finding
to
out
the
about it
side.
right now. I don't know
Yeah.
anything about it.
But it was running across the highway, on the highway, and it just was laying down there. I don't know, can we call the state or who?
Usually they tell you to call Department of Transportation,
Yeah.
especially for something like that.
If it was, depends, if it was coming across, I would have probably called, it's only a few people that line's gonna belong to.
Cleco, Cox, or,
There you go.
I passed it today, and the energy was for the alignment down
maybe.
Right.
It may be, but I called Cleco and I told them it was coming off of their power, off of their poles. I don't know what line it was.
Is Clico provide the service in that area?
Cleco has the power plant right there. It was
Okay,
like
right where it was at,
50
okay.
foot from the power,
Okay.
power plant. From the
That's what I would
substation.
have done. I would have just called.
Councilman Landry, you finished?
Yeah, I'm good.
Councilman Landry yields back, I believe. Councilman Trahone? You good? Anyone else, members? Councilman Pollard?
Yeah, I'll talk about the mental health program that they had this past weekend. They had a good participation turnout. Some of my colleagues was out there helping out. Parish president was there, did his walk or run. A couple of them ran. And,
Walk or run?
yeah. So, I mean, they had a decent turnout from what I've seen and everything. So I appreciate the people that came out and helped out for that.
I think it was the largest race in Iberia Parish's history.
Councilman Pollard, I'm glad you brought that up. I did get there late. However, I did see Mr. Broussard had a sweat going on. So I don't know if it was a walk or a run. Still to be determined. Thank you. And Mr. Tron cooked a really good jambalaya. I think everybody complimented him on that. So again, congratulations to the Watneys and that organization for a job well done.
The jambalaya? Who cooked that jambalaya?
Councilman Tron?
Okay.
Well, if it was bad, you would have put it on me, but
Okay.
anyways.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Anyways,
We got it.
hearing no other comments, moving on to the parish president announcements. Mr. Reshaw.
Well, parish president announcement. Let's go back to Public Works over the last couple of weeks. We did some culvert cleaning in District 2, debris pickup in District 2, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Field drainage work was done in District 10 and 14. Road grading work was done in District 10. We did striping in District 11. Road patching in District 3, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. We did some side boom work in District 3. And, of course, we had the household waste day that was done Saturday before last, April the 30th, beyond the parking lot. We had good participation, but we didn't have as many people showed up like we've been having in the past. We certainly planning on having another household waste day that's going to be scheduled for October the 22nd. And hopefully we have more participation.
October 22nd. Okay, good.
All right.
I'm getting the calls.
There you go. We're going to be hosting our annual Iberia Parish Hurricane Preparation Meeting on tomorrow at the Sliming. So you guys, if y'all get a chance, please try to go out there. It's going to start at 10 o'clock. That's a big deal for us. It's something that we never, ever can be too prepared for. It's a big deal for Iberia Parish. So if you guys get a chance tomorrow, try to go out. As far as property, a while back, you guys asked me to get some quotes and some property for you. It's coming in very slow. I did get the quote today for the property across the track at Giacomo. If you want to know that number right now, I can easily give it to you now. You don't want to know the number. Okay, no problem. But we did get that
If
number.
you could send that to the memo and to the council members, that'd be
Okay.
fine.
Okay, not a problem at all. The appraiser also stated that he's going to have the Laurelville Library appraised, completed by the end of this week or early next week.
Good.
Washington Street, the house right here, going to be appraised and completed early next week, he's saying. The Coto Library Building and Tesh Lake Road property is going to be, as the last two that's going to be completed. So we should have that, hopefully, all of them will be done in the next few weeks. And then in fact, I spoke with Dean today in reference to the property across the railroad tracks, and hopefully we can start getting things together to start disposing of those properties.
Were you getting phone calls and
Oh, yeah.
inquiries?
Absolutely.
Good.
In fact, I got calls in particular for that one, a piece of property in Laurelville, and also the library. The library in Laurelville, we're getting a lot of calls for that.
Good.
And the property next door to, I think it was next to a church, that a piece of land, yeah. Huh? Yes. Yeah. So that's it, Mr. Chairman. Thank you so very much. Appreciate
Members,
you.
do you have any questions for the parish president at this time? Hearing none, moving on to consent agenda items for public hearing and adoption. Summary number 76, Madam Clerk, introduced by the clerk of the council.
A resolution of condolences to the family of Mr. Curtis Kuhn Robertson, stepdaughter of Sewer District Number 1 Administrative Secretary Christine Rossonay, who passed away on May 3rd, 2022.
Summary number 77, introduced by the parish president. Madam Clerk.
A resolution amending the 2022 royalty fund budget in the amount of $2,596,000 to appropriate state funding through Coastal Protection and Restoration Authority for engineering and construction services for the Jefferson Canal, all to be funded with grant revenues, and further authorizing the parish president to execute an intergovernmental agreement between State of Louisiana through the Coastal Protection and Restoration Authority Board and Iberia Parish Government regarding the construction of the Jefferson Canal water control structure, provide for the effective date thereof, and to otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Do I have a motion accepting the consent agenda items? A motion by Councilman Olivier, second by Councilman Landry. At this time, is there any request to remove a consent agenda item? There is one by Councilman Napier. If you can state the request of the summary you'd like to remove.
77.
There is a motion to remove summary number 77. Do I hear any more? Hearing none, I had a motion by Councilman Olivier and second by Councilman Landry to accept summary number 76. Is there any discussion on the main motion, members? Councilman Landry, waves. Hearing no discussion, roll call, members. Those in favor will signify by saying aye. Those opposed, hearing no opposition, the ayes have it, and the motion carries unanimously. Summary number 77, introduced by the parish president. Madam Clerk.
A resolution.
It was removed. Go ahead.
A resolution amending the 2022 royalty fund budget in the amount of $2,596,000 to appropriate state funding through Coastal Protection and Restoration Authority for engineering and construction services for the Jefferson Canal, all to be funded with grant revenues, and further authorizing the parish president to execute an intergovernmental agreement between State of Louisiana through the Coastal Protection and Restoration Authority Board and Iberia Parish Government regarding the construction of the Jefferson Canal water control structure, to provide for the effective date thereof, and to otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Do I have a motion?
Move.
I have a motion by Councilman Napier. Second by Councilman Olivier. Councilman Napier on discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So when I saw this, when I was reading the agenda, my first, I didn't come here to make a big deal about this, Mr. Richard. I really didn't. My thing was to come and question, because I think most of us knew about what happened with People's Cooley, but then I think we approved another one, and then we got another one, and there's nothing being, and I think People's was, correct me if I'm wrong, 2019, I think, 20,
Maybe 2020,
two,
something like
two,
that.
2 years at least. So, I mean, we could sit here and, I know you had made some comments about Mr. Romero, and I don't know if everything he said is true, but I know he sat here for a long time. He runs the port. I don't think he's grabbing at straws, but hey, we need to look at what he's saying. But you can't take away from the fact that we got a problem at People's. You know, so we could blame it on attorneys, but from what I think I know is that it was awarded. It was awarded. They went on the property. That is no lie. They went on the property. I'm a contractor, so, you know, some of the things that are said, I mean, have respect for some of the people that know what goes on in these situations. There's no way that guy should have been on that property without all that. You're the leader. You're the leader.
And I can tell you right now,
What I would appreciate, and I will listen to you, Larry, I will. But I'm just speaking for me, y'all. No, I'm not speaking for none of y'all. But when people come to me, you know, I take this serious. So we sit here and approve a lot of money that we give to the administration. And the people are trusting us to do the right thing. And I take that serious. And then when this thing sat, and then we got an issue like that to where the sheriff has to be called, pull the contractor off, because whoever, I'm just looking at you, Mr. Richard, because you are the leader of the
Absolutely.
administration. Y'all didn't do your job. That should have never, ever been allowed to do. And now, after all that, we had a meeting. Some of us had a meeting about that. We met with Mr. Patu. We met with Mr. Gonsalves. You know, there was some things that really got messed up on this deal. Whoever it was, but you the leader. And now, I hear tonight that the money's been pulled. I'm just saying what I heard. And that if we gotta go back out for bid, hey, I know what's happened with material costs, with labor costs in my business. And I know that project that we approved a couple years ago for whatever amount it is, for the
Megawatt,
people of
right.
Iberia Parish, all the money we spent, now that's gone. We can't use, we can't move forward with this project. That's what I'm hearing, and I want to hear back from you. But, you know, what Mr. Romero was saying, it's heartbreaking to me to see that if we letting things go like that, when there's so much, and with COVID and with all that, with the storms and all that, we know as a group, there is money out there. And the previous administration, you remember, was faulted because they didn't move forward and they missed out on a lot of money.
Gotcha.
I don't know if that's what's happening, but it's so heartbreaking, not just as a parish councilman, but as a taxpayer here. Those things, especially drainage. You know, I wish my friend Marty was here. He lives and breathes drainage. You know, I think he'd be red like Chad's shirt, you know. But anyway, I don't want to keep going on, but I'm just so frustrated after what I've heard and what I know. And then to see this, hey, I want to see these projects. I'm not against them. But I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to support this. We haven't moved on the first one yet, y'all. We really need to think about it. I'm not against Mr. Richard. I'm not against the administration. We need to really think. We're going to keep doing this until it's proven that we can do something with the money that the state and the government's sending us. Man, I'm going to yield for now before I say something really not
Councilman
good. Thank you,
Napier
Mr.
yields
Chairman.
back. Just to remind you members, the discussion is about Jefferson Canal. If you can just state your main if possible.
That's hard to do.
And I appreciate you trying, Mr. Napier. Anyone else on discussion on the main motion at this time?
Brian,
Parish President?
I would feel just like you if what was said was true. I would feel exactly like you. Some of the things that was talked about is exactly true. There were major problems that took place with the contract between Sterling and Iberia Parish government. Andy had written a contract, if I'm not mistaken, and Andy can talk at some point in time, that went to Sterling's, and it just didn't go well. And it went back and forth, and I mean back and forth. We had a couple of meetings with Mr. Patu, and as far as I thought, everything was well. But the contract was not completed in time between the two attorneys. And there was some issues when it came to someone going on the piece of property without calling Sterling. That is factual. That is all facts. And we will definitely have to go out for bid. Now, your money is not lost. Your engineering is all of that stuff is still done. But we will certainly have to go out for bid again for that particular project because it's been too long. And anytime you do a bid, you know, you have a certain amount of time to accept the proposal that you actually gave the company or whatever, or your customer or whatever. What you're talking about right here, if you read it, this is a contract that we're trying to do with Coastal, with CPRA, them paying for this project. You don't have to vote for it if you don't want to, but you're really twisting. There's a few things that's going on that I would really love to talk about in this chamber right here, but I can't. And I can't for the betterment of Iberia Parish. I can't for the betterment of Iberia Parish. But there's a lot of things that's going on right now, And only thing I'm going to tell you is that it's more than what you're getting. Right now, you're trying to get funds from CPRA to do a project. You're 100% correct. The People's Coulee project had some hiccups, and we're moving along with other projects. In fact, I actually told legal to start getting into the other projects because we're wasting too much time on People's. I wanted to do People's first because it's got such a major effect on a lot, but it was just taking too much. That's why the parish council started coming in to approving other projects, and we're doing it right now. But I think even other people in this audience can tell you that it take a minute for some of these projects to materialize. In some cases, years. So you vote the way you want to vote. This is money that's coming from CPRA. They came here, they spoke to you, they told you what they're doing, and that's where we're at. I can't tell you anymore. That's all we got.
Thank you, Mr. Richard. I
No, but-
did have Councilwoman Broussard on the discussion.
I'm concerned with a couple of things that you just said, Mr. Richard, we had major problems on People's Coulee, so we're moving on to other projects. We have spent a lot of money getting People's Coulee ready for that project. And
Moved over.
Ah.
But we're doing that one as well. We're going out for
you can
bids.
talk, you can respond when I'm finished, please.
Okay.
I do not think that we should be moving on to another project until we get the project that we've already spent the money up and running.
Mhm.
I have spoken with Mr. Shealy about this, I've spoken to you about this, I've spoken to the Patus about this, I've spoken to the Patus attorney about this. You know, you're the first one to say how we're dealing with so many less employees and your administration is taxed, everybody's taxed. There were some balls that were dropped. And obviously, we have some time issues. And to start another project and start spending more taxpayer money on another project and just put the other one on the back burner when we
That was
spent
happening.
all that money, I don't think that's a wise use of our resources.
I agree with you on that, if that was happening.
I think we need to concentrate on the projects that we started, where we have money invested, before we move to the next one. And when I say our resources, I'm not necessarily talking about financial resources. I'm talking about our time, our staff to handle the issues.
Which costs money too.
What do you,
Yes, but-
explain what you mean when you
but-
say staff? What staff?
Well,
Tell me what you're
I
talking
mean,
about.
our legal staff is taxed. Now,
Mm-hmm.
they haven't been able to work that contract out. Now you're instructing them to start working on new projects. I mean, a person can only do so much in 24 hours.
Oh, you
in a
got
day.
that right. We definitely know that.
So, I think that's where we're losing some connections. That's where the balls are dropping, when you're asking people to work in too many different directions at the same time. So, we started People's Coulee. I think that's where we need to stay. I'm not supporting starting another project until we get the ones that we've spent the money on up and going.
Were you finished, Councilwoman? Councilwoman Broussard yields
Yeah,
back.
Unbelievable. So
Councilman
can I
Napier back on this.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Just a couple things. On People's Coulee, obviously, the contractor was awarded the contract. He
You need to talk about
obviously has had some cost involved in mobilizing, buying materials and all that.
He didn't mobilize.
Do you wanna, he did mobilize. He went on a property, Larry. That's mobilizing.
Councilman
Look,
Napier,
I've been
if
in
we
the
can
construction
stick to-
business for quite some time myself.
I'm more than happy to have that conversation continuing at some point, but tonight it's about Jefferson Canal, if you wouldn't mind.
Okay, all right.
No, I mean,
All right,
I
so you
get-
wanna kill it? You wanna kill that? Okay.
No, I'm not
Before-
trying to
bef-
kill anything. I
No,
just
Well,
trying to.
you don't want no more discussion on it. I respect that. I will abide by that.
We can talk about Jefferson Canal all you want tonight. It's, you know,
Okay,
we
I'm
keep
saying
getting
you
tangled
wanna
over-
hush the People's Canal
Yeah.
thing right now.
Well,
Okay?
it's not that I
No,
want to hush it, but it's not.
Just say
Wait.
yes.
Tell me what you wanna
not
do,
on-
Mr.
If
Chairman.
we can just stick to summary number
That's exactly what I'm getting
77?
ready to do. So no more on Peebles, okay.
If you wouldn't mind, please.
Okay, I do mind, but I'll abide by what you say.
I appreciate you.
I'd like to offer a substitute motion that we table summary number 77.
I'll hold that for 1 second just to
Thank you.
finish the regular main motion
Thank you.
discussion. I believe Councilman Olivier on discussion, and I'll just
Thank
actually
you.
yield for that second.
Thank you.
Great, Councilman.
Yeah, CPRA is pretty much funding this project for us, you know. Taxpayers here in Iberia Parish, it's not really coming out of pocket for this project. Parish government got a lot of moving parts going on at the same time. I mean, to say that we're gonna do one project, then move and start the next project, once we get the funding for a project, we need to start moving on the project, because that project's gonna lapse. We just can't afford to wait on these projects. If we got the money to do them, let's get it done.
Amen.
That's what we
Okay?
promote.
Thank you. All right.
Councilman Olivier, are you finished?
You got to be kidding me.
Councilman, you finished?
Yeah.
Okay, anyone else on discussion? On the main motion before I take up the substitute motion? Hearing no discussion, Councilman Napier, did you want to state your substitute motion?
So I'd like to make a motion, well, all right, I'm gonna leave what Eugene said. Well, no, I'm not. Eugene, that's what we all want.
Yeah, if you wouldn't,
Okay, well, to what the gentleman said, we all want that,
Thank you,
Mr.
Councilman.
Chairman.
Appreciate
We
you.
all want to move forward. If we could handle it, I'd like to see 10 projects going on. But obviously, with this one, this is order. I am. He stated something, I'm stating it, if you don't mind, Mr. Landry. So the
you're
thing.
stating it through the chairman, right?
Through the chair.
Thank you, Mr. Napier.
Chair. So, the thing is that once we can prove that we can handle one, and it does cost money, Mr. Chairman, because if Andy's got to work on that, or if anybody in administration has to work on it, it's like Ms. Broussard says, it does take away from something that's actually happening at the time. So I would like to offer a substitute motion that we table summary number 77 to, if y'all all good, to the next meeting.
Mr. Mathurin, before I take his substitute motion, did you have something on the main motion before we went? Go ahead real quick, and then I'll take the substitute.
There's a lot of information that's been provided tonight, and it's kind of processing it right here, but
Okay.
can we get CPRA over here to explain this to us and break it down? And 'cause
Certainly.
I'm a little confused on
Gladly.
what we're supporting and what we should be doing, and I don't know if I can
June the
vote.
8th.
I'll be honest with you.
Well, look, Council, I'm
There's a
I'm
lot
glad
of
you brought that
information
up.
that was provided that
Councilman, if you're gonna table it, I think I would just suggest that you take Mr. Mathurin to put in your table to request of the administration to bring CPRA before the council. If that's okay with your substitute motion.
Very good, Mr. Mathurin, and I'll back it up. Let's do June the 8th. Or, I don't know how long it'll take to get
Well,
CPRA. I
if-
mean, do y'all want to just table it till we get a word from
If you
CPRA?
wouldn't mind, so that we don't come back and it's publicated and we still don't
Yeah,
have
let's-
what we need.
Okay.
Is that okay? Who was the second? I know I had a, Councilwoman Broussard, okay, you
So-
okay with that, without tabling,
Without-
tabling without a date?
I'm good with that, Mr.
Okay,
Chairman.
so I have a motion on the,
When CPRA is scheduled.
yeah, so you'll put it back on the docket once we have that from the administration when CPRA can be here.
Correct.
So I have a motion on the floor to table by Councilman Broussard,
Napier.
Councilman Napier, and a second by Councilwoman Broussard. Discussion on the table. Did you waive on your own discussion, Mr. Napier?
I think I probably said enough.
Okay, great. Councilman Napier waives. Councilwoman Broussard on discussion on the table. Councilwoman Broussard waives. Members, any discussion on the table? On the table. Hearing none. Here's this good old roll call vote. Roll call, members. Those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. This is for the table. That's correct. If you can put those in the affirmative, put your hand up, please. Those voting in favor. I have. That is correct. I have in favor Councilman Pollard, Councilman Broussard, Councilman Paul Landry, the Paul Landry, Councilman Rossini, Councilman Napier, Councilman Goshasan, Councilwoman Broussard, Councilman James Strahon, Councilman Mathurin, Councilwoman Brown. Those opposed, put your hands up, please. I have Councilman Brown against it, Councilman Landry, Michael Landry, and Councilman Olivier. That motion passes 10 to 1? 10 to 3?
10 to 3.
That motion passes to table 10 to 3 and with the request that CPRA come before us. Now, it's not tabled with a date, so once you determine that,
We'll
what
get them here,
meeting they can
we'll
make,
try to get them here at the next meeting.
please notify the clerk so that we can pull the docket.
And then you can actually put this back on the agenda for the next meeting.
That is correct.
Perfect, no problem.
Moving on to ordinances introduced for public hearing and adoption. Summary number 5186, introduced by the clerk of the council. Madam Clerk.
An ordinance setting forth and establishing a property millage for general parish, formerly known as general alimony, which is levied on all taxable property in the rural areas of the parish only at the adjusted rate of 4.05 mils for 2022.
I have a motion by Councilman Paul Landry and a second by Councilman Brown. Councilman Landry waves. Councilman Brown waves. Any discussion on 5186, members? Hearing none, roll call vote. Those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, hearing no opposition, the ayes have it, and the motion carries unanimously. Moving on to summary number 5187, introduced by the clerk of the council. Madam Clerk.
An ordinance setting forth and establishing the property millage for general parish, formerly known as general alimony, which is levied on all taxable property in the rural areas of the parish only at the adjusted rate of 4.05 mils and authorizing an increase of said rate to 4.12 mils to be levied for 2022.
I have a motion by Councilman Paul Landry and a second by Councilman Brown. Councilman Landry on discussion. Councilman Landry waves. Councilman Brown. Members, any discussion on the main motion? We'll need 10 votes to move this to the adjustable maximum rate. Roll call. Those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed. I have one in opposition. All are in favor except for Councilman Rossini and Councilman Trahan. That motion carries. Moving on to summary number 5188, introduced by the clerk of the council. Madam Clerk.
An ordinance setting forth and establishing a property millage for the exempted municipalities, formerly known as criminal tax, which is levied on all taxable property in the municipalities only at the adjusted rate of 2.02 mils for 2022. Note, this millage rate cannot be more than half of the general parish millage rate.
Do I have a motion? I have a motion by Councilman Michael Landry. Second by Councilman Olivier. Councilman Landry on discussion. Councilman Olivier on discussion. Any discussion on the main motion, members? Hearing none, roll call. Those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Hearing no opposition, the ayes have it, and the motion carries unanimously. Moving on to summary number 5189, introduced by the clerk of the council. Madam Clerk.
An ordinance setting forth and establishing the property millages for the exempted municipalities, formerly known as criminal tax, which is levied on all taxable property in the municipalities only at the adjusted rate of 2.02 mils and authorizing an increase of said rate to 2.06 mils to be levied for 2022.
Do I have a motion? I have a motion by Councilman Brown. Second by Councilman Paul Landry. Councilman Brown on discussion. Councilman Landry on discussion. Members, main motion discussion on 5189? Hearing none, roll call. Those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? All those in favor except for Councilman Rossini and Councilman Trahan. That motion carries carries. Moving on to summary number 5190, introduced by the clerk of the council. Madam Clerk.
An ordinance setting forth and establishing a property millage for the public library system, which is levied on all taxable property in the parish at the rate of 5.76 mils for 2022.
I have a motion by Councilman Napier, second by Councilman Rossini. Councilman Napier on discussion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a substitute to change 5.76 to 3.5 mils.
Okay, let me just hold that for a second. Councilman Napier waves. Councilman Rossini on discussion? Wave. I have a discussion on the main motion by Councilman Olivier.
Pretty much working with us on our millages since I got elected, I think. We rolled the millages back because of the fund balance that they had, and they've been pretty much spending money out of the fund balance from year to year. It's going to get to a point where we're going to have to consider maybe moving this millages back up at least close to full mills where they have where revenue and revenue and expenses can balance out. And hopefully they can use their fund balance to get more programs in these libraries, to get more people in these libraries and so forth, better technology and so forth. So at this point, I'm willing to stay put with the 3.50, because I know we're going to have to make some adjustments on some of the other millages, but I'd like my colleagues in the future to consider possibility of moving that millages up. Thank you.
Councilman Olivia yields back. Any other discussion on the main motion, members? Hearing none, I did have a motion to amend to 3.50 by Councilman Napier and a second by Councilman Ralston. Is there any discussion on the amendment? Hearing none, roll call, members. Those in favor will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing no opposition, the ayes have it, and the motion carries unanimously. Moving on to summary number 5191, introduced by the clerk of the council. Madam Clerk.
An ordinance setting forth and establishing the property millage for the public library system, which is levied on all taxable property in the parish at the adjusted rate of 5.76 mills and authorizing an increase of said rate to 5.85 mills to be levied for 2022.
I have a motion by Councilwoman Broussard,
Second.
second by Councilman Napier. Councilwoman Broussard on discussion.
After discussion, I'll offer a substitute motion to delete.
I'll hold that. Councilman Napier, do you waive on discussion?
Yeah.
Any other main motion discussions, members? Hearing none, I have a motion to delete by Councilwoman Broussard and a second by Councilman Napier. Is any discussion on deletion? Hearing none, roll call, members. Those in favor will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, hearing no opposition, the ayes have it, and the motion carries unanimously. Moving on to summary number 5192, introduced by the clerk of the council. Madam Clerk.
An ordinance setting forth and establishing a property millage for the public buildings maintenance, which is levied on all taxable property in the parish at the adjusted rate of 4.68 mills for 2022.
I have a motion by, is that Councilman Ralston? Or is it Councilman Landry, the Paul Landry? Second by Councilman Michael Landry. Councilman Landry on discussion. Councilman Landry waives. Councilman Landry on discussion?
Waive.
The cousins waive tonight. Councilman Landry waives. Any discussion on the main motion? Hearing none, members, roll call. Those in favor will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, hearing no opposition, the ayes have it, and the motion carries unanimously. Moving on to summary number 5193, introduced by the clerk of the council. Madam Clerk.
An ordinance setting forth and establishing the property millage for the public building maintenance, which is levied on all taxable property in the parish at the adjusted rate of 4.68 mills and authorizing an increase of said rate to 4.76 mills to be levied for 2022.
I have a motion by Councilman Brown, second by Councilman Landry. Councilman Brown? Councilman Landry. Members, any main motion discussion? Hearing none, roll call. Those in favor will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We have all in favor except for Councilman Ralston and Councilman Trahan. That motion,
No, me.
whoa, this might change things. All right, so,
Just me.
3.
well, I have three against it now.
He's not, he didn't vote for it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Yes,
7,
that-
8, 9, 10.
We still got,
If 3 of them didn't vote, there's 13 members present.
okay, so we still good with 10? That motion carries. Again, just to state for the record, Councilman Napier in opposition, Councilman Ralston in opposition, Councilman Trahan. Correct? Okay. Good point, Councilman Landry. Moving on, moving on to summary number 5194, introduced by the clerk of the council. Madam Clerk.
An ordinance setting forth and establishing a property millage for the public health unit, which is levied on all taxable property in the parish at the adjusted rate of 2.11 mills for 2022.
Do I have a motion? I have a motion by Councilman Brown, second by Councilman Landry. Councilman Brown, Councilman Landry. Any main motion discussion, members? Hearing none, roll call. Those in favor will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, hearing no opposition, the ayes have it, and the motion carries unanimously. Moving on to summary number 5195, introduced by the clerk of the council. Madam Clerk.
An ordinance setting forth and establishing a property millage for drainage facilities, which is levied on all taxable property in the parish at the adjusted rate of 3.94 mills for 2022.
I have a motion by Councilman Landry and a second by Councilman Michael Landry. Councilman Landry waives.
Waive.
Councilman Landry waives. Any main motion discussion, members? Hearing none, roll call. Those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion carries unanimously.
He got bored.
Was that, which one was that? I lost my,
195.
okay, man, I was kind of distracted. Summary number 5196, introduced by the clerk of the council. Madam Clerk.
An ordinance is setting forth and establishing the property millage for drainage facilities, which is levied on all taxable property in the parish at the adjusted rate of 3.94 mills, and authorizing an increase of said rate to 4.00 mills to be levied for 2022.
I have a motion by Councilman Landry, Michael Landry, and a second by Councilman Olivier. Councilman Landry. Councilman Olivier. Councilman Olivier, on discussion.
That increase is gonna bring an additional $35,000 in that fund. We can't build roads with that. I'm gonna support this resolution.
Thank you, Councilman Olivier. Any other discussion on the main motion, members? I just want to make a brief, I'm sorry, did you want to go? I just want to make a brief comment before we end the millages tonight. I do understand that. I just want to make a comment. Once we get out of here, I won't be germane, but if you notice tonight, members, the sinking fund, the library sinking fund did drop off, which was over, Kim, somewhere around there, 130,000. And I think between the raises for the adjusted maximums were around 120 something, correct, Kim? 119. Okay, close to 120. So if you did the math correctly, we save about 11,000 for the taxpayer. So you know how information disseminates. We're not raising taxes. The sinking fund will pay this. It's been paid already. We're reallocating. Ms. Broussard said we're reallocating, so. Exactly. So I just wanted to make that for the record, let it be known, Madam Clerk, to put into the record that we have offset those costs with the library sinking fund. Hearing no other discussion, roll call members. Those in favor will signify by saying aye. Those opposed? No, nobody? All right, that motion carries unanimously. Thank you, gentlemen. Moving on to resolutions introduced for public hearing and adoption. Summary number 78, introduced by the Regional Planning Commission. Madam Clerk?
A resolution granting preliminary plat approval to a subdivision of property belonging to Kerry Viator located at the intersection of Lebeat Road and Highway 88 Coteau Road to create 3 lots located in District 14, subject to compliance with Planning Commission Staff Report PC 2022-0001. All is reviewed and recommended by the Iberia Parish Regional Planning Commission.
Do I have a motion? I have a motion by Councilman Landry. Second by Councilman Michael Landry. Councilman Landry in discussion. Councilman Landry on discussion. Mr. Richard, if I can ask, when we have these plat approvals like this, if we can have Jacob come or somebody from Planning Commission come before us, especially for final adoption, because if we had questions, and I'm not sure if we do or not, but just so that they can.
Typically, he would be here. His wife, he just had a baby. I don't know if you guys know.
Well, congratulations, Mr. Jacob.
Yeah.
Okay, so any discussion, members, on?
And if you need to table till next week, I guess.
Was there, do you know if there was any major
None.
opposition? Okay.
None.
All right, roll call, members. Those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Hear no opposition, the ayes have it, and the motion carries unanimously. Moving on to summary number 79, introduced by Regional Planning Commission. Madam Clerk?
A resolution granting preliminary plat approval to a subdivision of property belonging to Kerry Viator located on Freetown Road to create 3 lots located in District 14, subject to compliance with Planning Commission Staff Report PC 2022-0002. All is reviewed and recommended by the Iberia Parish Regional Planning Commission.
Do I have a motion? I have a motion by Councilman Landry, second by Councilman Montaran. Councilman Landry. Councilman Montaran? Any discussion on the main motion, members? I just want to thank Mr. Viator for his investment in Iberia Parish. Roll call, members. Those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, hearing no opposition, the ayes have it, and the motion carries unanimously. I need a motion to adjourn. I have a motion by Councilwoman Broussard and a second by Councilman Pollard. All those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, hearing no opposition, the ayes have it, and the motion carries unanimously. We are now adjourned.